My name's Tom Stafford, and I wrote the story about the Hattie Moseley mural here in Springfield. Resistance is a common past in every society. It gets rediscovered, I think, at moments of greater resistance. And I think that's why people are interested in stories about Hattie.
I'm just a girl, a wonderful girl, and the sweetest one in town.
Springfield in the 1920s was a large industrial city and became a very attractive community during the Great Migration for African American families moving north. Hattie's one of those members of the Great Migration, right? She's looking for that better opportunity. But when she arrived, she found that it was a town that had a lot of the same conditions she was, fleeing from. There was strong racism here in Springfield. The Klan was growing in popularity. It was not just a group that was fighting against African Americans, it was also very anti-Catholic. Two immigrant groups that were moving into the community in those years.
The Klan's presence was very important in Springfield. They were kind of equal opportunity haters. Of course, that's the key to the Hattie Moseley story, and that's one of the things that makes it so interesting, is that she immediately gets engaged in an anti-segregation campaign, most likely because, of course, she knew the experiences of segregation.
The reality is we still don't know so much about Hattie, but what we do know is extraordinary.
My name is Diantha Applin, and I'm the great niece of Hattie Moseley. Hattie's story is important because of her fight she did for the school system, for Fulton School system, when she fought to desegregate that school. That's why she's really well known.
One thing interesting about this is that it's, like most historical stories, it's more nuanced. In addition to having the idea of whether we were going to have a segregated school at Fulton Elementary, there was also the offer on the behalf of the board, and actually was proposed by black people in Springfield, to find a way to have black teachers in the schools.
The school district was interested in having an all-black school, even though that by the state constitution was illegal. And it was a charge actually led by members of the black community who actually wanted to see a segregated school.
My reading of it is that a couple of school board members, later to be shown as Klans folks, tried to take advantage of that to create a segregated school system, starting with Fulton Elementary. And that's where Hattie got involved in the protests, because she had seen the strength and the difficulties of segregation in Georgia, where she had come from.
This is the original Fulton School. This is the entrance to the school. The school is really derelict now, but just looking at the building and imagining this is where my aunt had her biggest fight. I know my aunt stood her ground.
Hattie's in some ways a role player in that early Fulton boycott. If she didn't do anything else, we might not know her name in those ways, but she was active. We know what she was doing in that boycott and that protest. She was actually focused on registering women to vote. This is not long after women gained the right to vote in the United States, and Hattie knew that the vote was power. She knew that gave African Americans, specifically African American women, voice that they had not had before, and with voice came power.
She would really fight for you. Fight for something that she knew was right, fight for what she felt like would be equal for African Americans. She would fight for that.
Oh, it's never stopped being important, but it's really important today. I think when we can focus on role models, these mentors in a way, it's really powerful. And I think it also points out to people that the issues we're facing today are not new, right? We've been facing these as a nation since our founding, but certainly since the 1920s. A lot of the things that Hattie was fighting against in the 1920s she would still be fighting against them today because things have not changed.
In celebrating what Hattie Moseley did, the mural also bears witness to what she had to overcome. That's a universal in human behavior for all times of history. You can't have one of those things without the other. It's the way human progress works.